There's been more fighting in Sudan, despite the country's rival military faction signing a humanitarian deal aimed at protecting civilians. Fighter aircraft have again been in action over the capital Khartoum, with reports of loud explosions. These pictures show the aftermath of an airstrike on the presidential palace earlier this week. Now, the United Nations says 200,000 people have now fled the country, with many more forced from their homes by the fighting. Hundreds of civilians have been killed. Sudan's rival leaders are former allies, the head of the army, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and the paramilitary commander, Mohamed Hamdan Daglo. 2 years ago, they overthrew Sudan's government. Now they're fighting each other. Our correspondent, Barbara Plett-Usher, has the very latest.
For nearly a month, Sudan's warring generals have been battling for control of Khartoum. A brutal power struggle between the army and paramilitary troops. Both of them think they can win. But the conflict has trapped civilians in desperate conditions.
You're in constant worry that you'll be laying in bed and a bomb will fall into you and break your building or bomb your house. So every time you hear an airplane, every time you hear a bomb, you be on edge, on your toes.
Despite a week of intense talks, the two sides are still far apart. But they have reached an agreement. They promised to protect civilians and allow delivery of aid. Now they have to secure a truce so that can actually happen. They can't even look at each other. In the streets of Khartoum, it's a battle for survival. There's a constant hunt for dwindling supplies. This is one of the few shops still open. The dead are piling up. The fighting's forced some to dig graves in their gardens. The Red Cross has been able to collect a few bodies. A truce would allow more to be buried. That's something Azhar is thinking about. Her grandparents got stuck in the heat of the fighting. Her grandfather, a British citizen, was shot, leaving her disabled grandmother alone at home. Weeks of frantic phone calls failed to get help. 3 days ago, Azhar heard she was dead.
It's quite painful to think that she was alone with no electricity in the midst of, it's really hot in Sudan right now, in the midst of the heat, with bombs, waking up to bomb sounds of ammunition.
The British embassy was across the road, but Azhar says they didn't respond to her pleas. And the evacuation point was at an airfield her grandparents couldn't reach.
If the British embassy is able to bring in cars, evacuate their staff that are stuck inside, surely they can drop off water at least. Or surely they can come pick up. It's literally just picking up one of your citizens.
The fighting still hasn't stopped. And at night, power cuts blanket the capital with blackness. Unless this deal is serious, things will get worse quite quickly. Barbara Plett-Usher, BBC News, Nairobi.